What's up guys, Matt here coming at you with the new MOA axles or motor on axle from Park. Now, we picked these up at Beat the Creek. Chad hooked Liam up with a Demeanor SS chassis that he really wanted to build out. We got to talking about what axles he was going to use, what transmission, this and that. And next thing you know, we picked up a set of these. Chad had a really good deal going on them at Beat the Creek, so we got a little bit of a discount being at the event. So I was working on helping Liam get this build together because it's a pretty complicated build. Like links and things are something you just really got to work out. So there's a lot going into this. So I was kind of helping Liam build it. He put together his wheels and chassis and everything, and I'm sorting out links. I made him some links and stuff. And I got the front all together, or the rear all together, and I was getting ready to start on the front, and I decided like I should really show these up close and just kind of do a quick look at these because nobody's really kind of showing what is going on here. So that's what we're going to do, is just take a quick look at these, and then very, very soon we're going to have the full build. It's golden, I'm telling you. It's going to be sick. ESC should be showing up today. So for you guys that don't know, you run a dual ESC for this. You're going to have a motor on each axle, front and rear. So with the dual ESC, we'll program it through our transmitter. We'll be able to lock out the rear, lock out the front, whatever we want to do. So we'll have front dig, rear dig. Really, this is the first set of axles built for the SCX24 that's going to give us that capability. You know, I did a dig rig probably 5 years ago with the SCX24, but it was like a dual motor transmission. It was a lot more complicated, not near this nice. So that's why I want to take a very quick look at these, just kind of show you guys how your motor and stuff mounts up in here. One little thing that I'm not a huge fan of, and then we'll be showing the build off as soon as it's complete. So basically what we've got here is the Park axle combined with their transmission, right? They just kind of built this into this. This is the original axle with the old shaft in it. That's why this is not on a build at the moment. I just pulled it, and I do have the new shafts now, so this will go on something at some point. But you can see the shaft there. I'd put like some sealant on it to try to keep the pin in. We don't have to worry about that now. Got these new like titanium style, I believe they are. Supposed to be much better. Hopefully they are. I don't have much runtime on. Actually, I have these, have them, and instead of breaking the pin in the comp at Beat the Creek, Liam blew out both drive shafts. So they're at least stronger than drive shafts, right? So I run the plastic drive shafts because that's a great weak point. It's very easy to change out plastic drive shafts. When I post the comp video from Beat the Creek, you'll see that. I'm like, oh, like, but I wasn't freaking out because I cared about the drive shafts. I was actually freaking out because I thought it was going to kill Liam's run. Like, he was doing so good, and I thought he wasn't going to make it past the last gate because he blew both drive shafts. But anyways, we'll post that at some point. But these, very nice. You know, people are like, oh, they're like jewelry. And I mean, they really are. They are insane quality. But me, I'm one of those, I like the black axles. I actually like plastic housings. So that would be my only nitpick. These are the best axles that there are, really, with the better shafts, because you've got the clockable C-hubs. So taking this screw loose, you can roll this around. So like on this, and I'm not going to show you guys the build yet because it's kind of a surprise, but on the rear axle, we kind of rolled it up like this a little bit just to give a little more clearance with the motor, the wires in the motor. It just got it up out of the way. So instead of having our steering link way down, it's not that aggressive, but we rolled it up a little bit, and then we're able to kind of roll those back, you know, to keep that steering link up. That's one of my only things about four-wheel steer that I'm not a big fan of sometimes, is like when you get on something really steep, sometimes you'll hang this on a rock behind you. So that's very cool that you can kind of clock those back. These do completely pull apart, I think. So Chad was saying that eventually he's going to have longer tubes for these. So if you want to pull all this apart and basically keep this transmission set up, you could get the longer tubes. bolt your C-hubs and everything onto those for like his super build. So that way you can go super wide to get the clearance with those big massive tires. So my main thing that I am not a huge fan of on this is this upper link mount. So I feel like we would have been better off to had like some screw holes in this case here. Now I guess maybe that would allow dirt to get in to the gears easier. But if we had like screw holes along this and we had this with a flat piece on the bottom that we could just move this around, like you could have just insane amount of adjustment for that. Or if it came from this side with a thin piece and up, over, up, I don't know, something different, because this really limits where I can put my motor wires. So these come with a pinion that basically you're supposed to run a screw into this and then just like cut the screw off, because you can't quite get it in here with the screw on it. It just won't clear here. I'm just gonna glue mine, I think, and hope the glue holds. But you do get the pinions with it. So these are just stock like Mod 3 gears in here basically. So you can use just like a stock SCX24 pinion. I mean, these FuryTech Micro Komodos sometimes come with this brass pinion, sometimes come with a plastic one. It just depends what you get. But if you're pulling your pinion or putting one on, leave it towards the end of the shaft of the motor. As you can see there, the pinion's out past the end of the shaft just a little bit. That helps it line up with this gear, because the gear inside there is a good little distance from where the motor itself mounts, as you can see. So it'll work. This is an 11 tooth and it's gonna work just fine. Gonna turn nice and freely. You do have a slider adjustment in there, so you can make a little bit smaller or larger pinion work depending on what setup you're going with. Right now they have just the axles you can buy without the pinion and the cover and the steering link, so you're gonna have to source all of that yourself. But if you buy the full complete set, you get the pinion with it, which is fine. But where this is at, it really kind of limits where your motor wires are gonna sit. So for my hose to line up to mount this motor, I have to have my motor wires out here. And it's not a huge deal, but on the rear, if this is sitting like this and my motor wires are here, I mean, with an MOA axle, I can have some links that are just like insane clearance, right? I mean, I can come from here like, whoop, and then this is just exposed. If you try to move this around to here, it gets very difficult. You can do it, I think. Like maybe right in there, I could make that work at some point, but those hoses are just not lining up at the moment. Now this does have some adjustment, so you can move it down or up, but when I tried to move this down one, it didn't line up well. Let's see, we're good, we're where we started. Now I can go up another, I believe, let's see. I go there, yeah, we line up again. So let's see if that one helps us any at all. But then we're moving this back into our servo more. So you're gonna run into some issues with the servo probably, because we're moving this back into where your servo is gonna sit. So I just feel like if this was up here and it came up and we still had the, you know, same location, but it had a flat piece that screwed into here in the case, I think we could pretty much roll that around anywhere we wanted, and then it wouldn't be in the way of these motor wires. So these axles are made to basically work with this Micro Komodo, but pretty much any motor with the 9mm bolt pattern. I think it's 9mm. So there, again, I've got to be right there for motor hose to line up. If I try to bring it up here, nope, still not lining up. Completely in the way. up here. There's really not a good way. There's really not a good way to get your motor wires out of the way. We just lost the pinion. So that's my main complaint, is this upper link mount. I'm not a fan of that. So if this had like a flat piece on it here and it bolted in up here, we could roll this pretty much anywhere you needed it. You could have holes all the way around through here. Now, as I said, any of these empty holes may make it easy for dirt to get in, but I'll deal with that. So you would have like an infinite adjustment, and then you could basically mount your motor anyhow you wanted. So right there is where I would choose to mount my motor, so that the wires are completely up. And if you notice, where I want it to mount is right where this sits. So that's my only complaint. I did resolve that issue on the rear axle that I mounted up already, and I can show you guys that when I get done with the build. But basically all I did was I made a little plate that bolts in here and gives me one more adjustment up here, so I was able to kind of roll this up, use this one hole that doesn't line up. I used this hole, rolled that up a bit, and it got it out of the way to where I got my motor wires in there where I wanted them. It works. I'm probably an idiot and there's a good way to do it, but for us dumb people like myself, this don't work real well. So I would like to see a different way to mount that link mount. So I'm going to mount this up the way it is. For the front axle, it's not as big a deal to have these wires angled down like this in the front, because I'm not going to have super high clearance links in the front on the lowers. So the links will kind of protect it. On the rear though, I have these crazy high clearance links that come in like this, and that motor wire sticking down is just not going to work for me. I'm not a fan of that. So I did change it on the rear. Front, I'm going to leave it alone. Now we do get a carbon fiber plate that covers this gear here to keep any dirt out, and then you get this cover that goes over your motor here to kind of protect it, so it bolts on. That's what that hole is for, dummy. Okay. So you basically don't have any adjustment down this way with this, it's just that way. So that's where your cover for the motor goes. Don't know why I didn't put that together sooner, but hey, we're exploring. So that's nice that we've got a cover for the motor. I don't know if I'll run the one on the front or not, probably just run the one on the rear. Again though, if that had this mounting set up, I think it would be better. You guys let me know what you think. Besides that, we've got straight cut gears in here. I'm not going to pull this apart to get to the gears. It's just a bunch of gears in there. But we've got straight cut gears. This will work with this pinion that I believe is a 12 tooth. And then I've been successfully, I mounted the 11 tooth that comes on the micro Komodo onto the rear, doing what I did with my little bracket. So with that said, these axles, I mean, here's the thing. Are they worth like the $375, $400, whatever they are for two axles? Yes and no. For me, I'm not a huge MOA guy anyways. I had a couple MOA 10 scales and I just always end up getting rid of them. But I mean, when you're the first to do it and really the best to do it, let's just get down to it. I mean, Hard Park, the quality is amazing. Customer service is amazing. You know, a lot of people were having issues with these shafts. Guess what? Everybody that bought these got free replacements when the new ones came out. That's killer customer service. You know, Chad could have put those on there for 20 bucks a set. People would have bought them just to upgrade their axles, but no, he gave them away, you know. So I'm not trying to nickel and dime you for something like that if there is an issue. This is the first true MOA axle for the SCX24. When you're the first to do it and the best to do it, you can pretty much charge whatever you want. So they probably could have sold these for like $800 a set. People would have been buying them, right? Eventually we're gonna have lockouts for this. If you don't want to run four-wheel steer, that would probably be an option for me. I'm not a huge four-wheel steer guy, So I could do like a flat mount back here, mount my battery back here, and just lock this out, and I wouldn't have to deal with the battery on the front axle or whatever. So I would actually consider that. I don't really use four-wheel steer a lot. I know it helps in some cases. It also hurts in some cases, in my opinion. So I could do without it, to be 100% honest. But man, these are very nice in hand, very quality feel, nice weight to them. We do have, you can get the hangers that mount onto these if you want to go with the larger wheels. We're just building some 1.3 wheels. That's what Liam decided to go with, and it's kind of his build. So that's why I'm not showing the build yet. It's going to be a surprise, and hopefully I can get him to kind of show it off with me. But that's why I'm just here blabbing on about this axle, right? So I'm going to try to finish getting this together, and then just be waiting on that ESC to show up hopefully today or tomorrow, and then we'll be putting the finishing touches on this and getting it to run soon. So I appreciate you guys watching this blab fest, and lots more to come. Peace.